No one knew what to expect from the first presidential debate of the season. We wanted information. We wanted inspiration. What we got was a bad joke that began with, "Three old men walk onto a debate stage," and ended with a bad punchline.
And so the first debate of the presidential season here has happened, and it was what it was. It's
Yeah.
it was the best of debates. It was the worst of debates because it was the only debate
That's a good way
as
to
of
put
yet. And so we're going to do a quick review of this. And oh my goodness, how do I know how we start? What was your first take?
I know everyone is very interested to see what we think.
Yes.
So, on the first take, I was really trying to watch as a purple person. Okay, being like an independent or an undecided. We're not
right.
red or blue. Maybe a mix. Maybe nothing. I don't know. Anyway, so watching as a purple man, I really didn't come to any meaningful conclusions at the end. I would have been no better off at the end than I was at the beginning.
Right. Was there anything?
Trump just came off as mean and bullish, and Joe came off as weak and sad. You just almost felt bad for the guy. You want to hand him a tissue or something.
Like he couldn't stand up to himself.
Yeah, he couldn't stand up for himself anyway.
Well, yeah.
I mean, he probably couldn't stand up to himself. He's got so many. Yeah, he has so many different opinions on everything. He's not sure which one wins.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't know if that's how you took it, but
yeah. So I took it a little bit differently. I saw all the outrage and everyone was so irritated and frustrated about the whole thing. Me, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed probably 95% of it because I went in with a particular expectation. As much as you should expect more intellectually stimulating debate out of the presidential debate for the United States of America, I did not expect that at all. It's sad, but I didn't expect it at all. I expected pure entertainment because I knew it would be entertaining to some degree. So I just leaned into that with my expectations, at least my first time through.
Well, yeah, and I'm sure
it did not disappoint.
Trump's base was definitely riled up. They
right. Well, I mean, Biden had some good little bits here and there. He's strung his sentences together and all of that. So, but as far as like if this was
we set a high bar for him.
If this was fictional television, I would come back for season 2.
Yeah. Well, I did, man.
And so we both came back. So
that's right. Yeah.
So we both watched it a couple of times, listened to it a couple of times. What are a couple of highlights? What stood out to you about it with a whole 90-minute debate or quote unquote debate?
Well, okay. Well, the most solid one-liner I think was when Trump said, "I've done more in 47 months than you've done in 47 years."
I'm pretty sure when I heard that, my jaw actually dropped.
Yeah.
Like, I cannot believe he just said that.
And no, there was no coming back from that. I mean, so much so that Chris Wallace jumped in and pulled Joe right out of the pit there, and just, all right, let's move on to the next topic. It was sad and obvious. So that was one thing that really, I mean, that was perfect. We could make that a headline and put it on a bumper sticker. And then on law enforcement, I mean, that was really like a nail in the coffin. I thought they could have stopped the debate right there and it was over. It says, I've got so many law enforcement agencies supporting me. This is Trump talking, saying, I've got so much law enforcement supporting me. Do you have any law enforcement backing you, Joe? And then just, he's got nothing. But
I think his response was,
we
don't have time.
Yeah, it's like, can you name one law enforcement agency that supports you? Just name one. I'll wait. And then Wallace had to pull him out again.
Yeah. So
that was, like I said, that it could have stopped there, and I think Trump would have won. But of course, everybody's saying he lost. Whatever. I kind of think nobody won in a sense, but those were perfect lines. And then on the Green New Deal, Biden when they were talking about climate change and all this, and Biden says the Green New Deal will pay for itself as we move forward. And Wallace asked him, "Do you support the Green New Deal?" And he says, "No." What? And Trump, of course, jumps in. He had to seize on that. Whoa, that's a big statement. You've just lost the radical left. And yeah, if Trump's goal was to separate Biden from the radical left in order to ostracize the Bernie Bros and the AOCs, camp, the squads camp and all that, I think he succeeded in that. I mean, at least we know Joe. Well, one thing we do know is that we don't know where Joe Biden stands on
Right.
pretty much anything. So he's a paper doll. He's a puppet. So
Right.
he'll move whichever way he needs to lean in order to
See which
get
way the
to the
wind
finish
blows.
line, yeah.
Absolutely. Or he'll attempt to get to the finish line yet again for presidential.
Somebody's they're trying to carry him through, man.
I want to say poor guy there, but it's.
I did kind of feel a little bad for him, you know. Yeah, I almost wanted to jump in just to make it more like, man, stand up straight, put your shoulders back, stand up for yourself. No one's ever gonna respect you if you can't stand up for yourself and be a man. You're gonna act like a man. I don't know. Just,
you gotta act like a man. Yeah, fair enough.
Stop.
Fair enough. I mean, I'll
so
say
sad and defeated. It was just. I did feel bad. For
Trump got a bunch of verbal hits in. There was one of the ones where again you lost the left a few different times, whether it was the Green New Deal or it was law enforcement. There's a few of those instances
there was another one
where
too.
I know, and he's like, "You just lost the left." It was right out of the gate, almost like
Yeah.
first 5 or 10 minutes of them actually exchanging.
You're right.
It
was right at the beginning.
You just lost the left right there, and so it was good. So maybe in another. Debate,
that was on Medicare for all.
The Medicare
That's
for all,
what it
yes.
was.
Okay,
he said he didn't support Medicare for all.
Didn't support it.
You just lost the left. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, he was trying to show where Biden had, again, just kind of went whatever way the wind blows, and that wasn't quite working out for him. I will say one thing that Biden got in that was pretty good. So the narrative on the left is that, and I don't just mean slightly left. I mean the more extreme version is that every single coronavirus death is Trump's fault, which is just logically inconsistent. You cannot be an intellectually honest person and believe that every death is his fault. Mm-hmm. You can make an argument that maybe the number should have been lower, but you can't say everyone is his fault. Right. So Biden did hit this really clever tactic where he said something along the lines of, how many of you have an empty space at the table, and he connected it to an individual,
and he's talking right to the camera too,
right.
like he's trying to.
So like that was good. That was all the things that Biden did, like saying, "Come on, man, shut up. You shut your mouth." Yeah. There's a lot of that stuff that was like, "Okay, you gonna fight him, or you gonna challenge him to a push-up contest? What are you gonna do?" But that was one thing that Biden said that was just it was really good. But I also liked where Trump pushed back on the Antifa thing too. Biden was claiming it was an idea, to which I think I tweeted somewhere, it was like, yeah, ideas can be dangerous, but ideas can't throw Molotov cocktails. So, but so Trump was trying to push him on that too. So, for all that it was worth, Trump could have pulled back a few punches, but overall.
Well, and he did condemn white supremacy, by the way. Like, let's be honest, twice.
Yes.
Twice he condemned white supremacy.
Yes.
Wallace asked him, "Are you willing to condemn white?" He says, "Yeah, sure." He says, "Will you do that right now?" He says, "Sure, I'm willing to do that."
Who do you want to call him?
Yeah, what do you want me to call him? And then him and Biden start talking over each other. Biden says, "Proud Boys." He picks up on that. There you go. But it's like, how many times do you need the guy to condemn white supremacy?
So I watched this a couple times.
That's got to be irritating.
Right. And this kind of leads into my final thought of the debate here. But so what happened is there was that exchange back and forth. It was kind of getting ganged up on it, which Trump was fine enough to handle that himself. But what happened was, after Trump was starting to respond yet again to the white supremacist thing, Trump actually mentioned about the Antifa bit, and instead of being able to come back to the point and answer it, the moderator did not quite moderate, and he just ended the segment and moved on.
Yes.
And so that was kind of a dirty trick, at least in my opinion. Other people might have different views on it, but it comes down to the debate style. I think there was a big issue there. There was no real chances for rebuttals. And many other debates that I've watched, there are always a chance for a rebuttal. And you can there's different methods, different time amounts and everything. But typically what would happen is, let's just give an example. So if Trump had his first 2 uninterrupted minutes, and then Biden has his uninterrupted minutes to say whatever he wants, he's answering the question, but then he ends his 2 minutes, the last 30 seconds or so, with some wild accusation or wild statement that's just categorically false. And so then Trump's not allowed to respond to that.
Right.
Is how the debate went. It shouldn't have gone that way, even with their current standards.
Well,
but
yeah,
really
because he did have to push back on Wallace. I remember a few times, like, no, wait a minute, now he just said some crazy stuff. I got to respond to that.
Right, exactly. And so there really wasn't, I don't think, enough options to respond.
And that may not have come off well to the purple audience or the blue audience, but
I think that did give a lot of
but it
reason
was
for
kind of necessary.
Yeah. So for Trump he's going. You know, if you're not going to give him an opportunity, he'll create one.
Yeah. And that's another thing. It's like, what did you expect? Did you really think? You just really think you were going to railroad? you knew better than that. You're not going to railroad Trump. He's just going to do what he wants and say what he wants. But yeah, I agree. The format wasn't good, and the moderator was no good. He was no good to moderate that, especially that format. Maybe if it was more structured,
right,
with a structured opening statement, structured rebuttal time,
right. So he
that
did
sort of thing.
The moderator did, I think, okay with keeping the 2-minute part of the structure.
Yeah,
he did okay with kind of keeping them both in line on that, but
he did have to correct them both on interrupting the other during the 2 minutes. But the open discussion part, it's like, man, if you're gonna have an open discussion, let them have an open discussion. Let them duke it out, man. Either let them duke it out or structure it so that they each just have their own time, no matter when they're speaking. Because if you can't push past, you're going against Trump, you're his opponent. You have to be able to. You got to be able to hang. You just have to be able to do it. You got to be able to hang with him and get your stuff through. So that's what I think, man. I hope the next one's better if we have a next one. They're already kind of talking about pulling out because he was so mean. He hurt their feelings, I guess.
Yeah, at this point, who knows? But if there is another debate, we will be here to review it. And if there's not, then we'll be here anyways.
Yeah, hopefully it's more productive. That's all I can say.
Regularly scheduled programming.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, what he said.